One is called test policy, test strategy, test plan, test case, execution, effect report, effect submission. So all these will comes under test closure. So these are all the phases which comes under software testing life cycle. So test policy, test strategy, test plan, and one more is also the test methodology, called as a test methodology. Test plan, test case, execution, defect report, and defect submission will everything will comes under test plan. This comes under test case. All these will comes under test cases. Execution. So all these will comes under, these are these phases which comes under software testing also. So test policy. Which describes the overall structure of the function. Related to company standards. The test policy mainly explains about test definition, test standards, test measurement, testing process. All these will related to the test policy. So the test definition mainly explains about the quality, explains about how much quality, work, and process. These three will come under test definition. That is mainly explains about how much quality we are expecting, how much work had to complete. All these will come under test definition. Standards. One defect for 250 lines of codes, which is called as a functional part. We call it a functional part, especially for developers. Test measurement mainly explains about quality, work, and the process. Testing process. What standards needs to be followed for the required functionality. All this will comes under test policy, which comes under test policy. The next one is test strategy. Budget control. We are not concentrating on this. We no need to work on this actually. That is related to the management category. So the test policy will mainly done by QAE, quality assurance engineer. And the test strategy will be done by quality control. Quality control. Test methodology. So what is the testing process? What are the testing process? We'll explain some. So every company will have their standards. So what testing process will always start with the test initialization. Based on that, they're going to prepare test plan. They're going to write it. We are going to write test cases. We are going to execute the test cases. We are going to generate the defect reports as well as defect submission. Defect submission. So this is the entire actually will comes under test methodology. So we need to explain that based upon the BRS documentation, the test plan will be done by the test lead, and based on that we are going to write the test cases and we are going to execute the test cases. And if you find any issues during the runtime process, we are sending to the developer. Developer is going to resolve it. Once you get the modified build, we are going to do the retesting on that modified build. We are going to do the retesting on the modified build. So if the expected values is not equal to actual value, we're going to generate the reports and sends to the reports to developer. What the developer is going to fix and they're going to resolve it. Once you get the modified build, we are going to do the retesting on that modified build. Retesting on the final. So this is a process of it. Finally, test closure will be done. So we need to explain in this manner. So this is overall structure of a test method. We are going to learn all these things separately. What do you mean by test plan, what do you mean by test case, and how we are going to execute all your test cases, and how you are going to generate your reports, and how you are going to make the submissions, all these things. We'll learn it separately. But this is a procedure to be followed for the test methodology. Okay, test methodology. Now in the testing, the first main important part is we call it as a test plan documentation. What do you mean by test plan and what are the contents present in the test plan? The test plan mainly explains about what to test, when to test, how to test, and who to test. This is the main functionality for test plan. That is, it mainly explains about type of the project, scope of the project, and risk factors. Risk factors. These three will comes under test plan documentation. So what we are going to test, when we are going to test, who is going to test, how to test the functionality. The test plan will be done by involvement of test lead or team lead. Test lead or team lead. It mainly explains about before preparing as a test plan, the test lead is going to prepare. What is going to be? First is going to prepare the team formation. Second one is going to prepare risk factors. Third one, they are going to prepare they're going to prepare test plan. And finally, they're going to make test reviews, test plan reviews. All this will come under this. Before preparing up your test plan, they're going to prepare the team formation. They're going to make the risk factors. Later on, we're going to prepare your test plan documentation and the reviews on the test plan documentation. So to go with the test plan documentation, we usually used to work there. There is a format called IEEE format, IEEE 829 format. So Institute of Electric and Electronic Engineering format. It's an account, Institute of Electric and Electronic Engineering process. The standard will be 829 format. This is an enhanced. So if you want to prepare your test cases or test plan documentation, or if you want to execute your test cases, or if you want to generate the reports or defect submission process, everything will be followed by using the IEEE 829 format standards we're going to prepare. So the first, before that, they're going to prepare the team formation. Based on that, they're going to prepare risk factors. And first, they're going to prepare your test plan and they're going to prepare the reviews on the test plan documentation. This is the overall structure. Now, before going to the first, they make a team formation. So team formation is nothing but availability of testers, cost of the project, duration of the project, test environments. So do you have any software and resources and hardware resources to test the functionality? So how many testers are there? What is the cost of the project? What is the duration of the project? And how many does we have any software and hardware resources to test the functionality or not? All these will come under team formation. Now based on that, they're going to prepare some risk factors like lack of time, lack of test data, lack of test data, lack of communication, lack of resources, lack of knowledge. All these will come under these factors. Insufficient time, if you don't have any proper requirement, if you communicate improper in communication, and you don't have any resources to test your application functionality, and if you don't have any knowledge on a particular domain. So usually if you have any this kind of risk factors, I already told we are going to use spiral model, this kind of things. We are going to work on the spiral model itself. Lack of time, lack of test data, lack of communication, lack of resources, lack of knowledge on this. Now, once you prepare the test plan, now they're going to prepare the test risk factors. Now they're going to prepare the test plan by using IEEE 829 formula. So what are these? What are the elements present in your test plan documentation? The first one is test plan ID, name of the test plan, description, features to be tested, features not to be tested, test environments, test resources, test schedule, test setup, all these are all the content present in your so this.
Hello, 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 sir.
Hello, madam.
సార్ మీ వాయిస్ ఇంతకుముందు వినిపించలేదు నాకు.
Now is okay.
ఓకే.
Okay. Description. Working on web application. What are the features to be tested? So, for example, login, customer details, product details, payment details. I don't want to test the logout, delivery process, feedback process. What are the things? Doesn't require it, you can mention it as that process. Now, in each environment of involved, like something like Windows 7, Windows 8, RAM, hard disk, all these things. Schedule, date and time. Setup in which build. So something like Java build or .NET build or Python. So we need to mention the build version. Resources, environments. Okay. All these are all the contents. So everything will be given by the team leader. Okay. Once you mention it, based on that, they're going to conduct the reviews on the test plan and will send to the testers. Meetings. Now what the tester is going to do? Based on the test plan, testers or test engineers prepares test scenarios and generates test cases. Now, what is the difference between test scenario and test case? Which will describes the overview structure of the function. Structure of the function. That is mainly what to test. It comes under test scenario. Test case mainly explains about to check the expected values to actual values or to validate the application during runtime process. So how to test? This comes under test cases. What to test is a scenario, how to test is a test cases. Now, for example, you are going to work on an application like Amazon page. So for this, we need to prepare your scenario first. Later on, we need to write your test cases. Now, so what is things which comes under scenario like login, customer details, product details, payment details, delivery process, feedback process, logout. All these things describing is a scenario. Now individually for login window, how we are going to test? What are the things we need to require? Username, password, sign on, sign up, forgotten password. All these will come under test cases. So login is a scenario. So for this scenario, we are going to write some test cases. Username, password, sign in, sign up, forgotten password, logout. All these will come under test cases. So the customer details is a scenario. Product details, payment details, delivery process, logout. Everything, these all will come under scenario. Individually, we are going to write how we are going to test your login window. So in which browser you need to open? how you are going to navigate your page. What are the inputs, positive test cases as well as negative test cases for the username and password. How many characters the username accepts, how many characters the password accepts. If the username is null, and what kind of message you are getting during runtime process, whether it's a valid pop-up or invalid pop-up, or whether it's an alert message, we call alert. So please re-login or invalid password or invalid login failed. Those kind of messages we are getting during runtime process. All these are all actually called alert messages. There are three types of alert messages, sir. One is alert, second one is prompt, third one is confirmation. Actually, three types of messages are there. But when you're executing, when you're executing this kind, when you're getting this kind of usernames and passwords, you will get alert message. Please re-login, login failed, invalid login. Those kinds are called as alert messages. So we are going to check the positive and the negative for all the possibilities, what we have written for the username and password. Similarly, go for customer details. So what are the things you need to check for the customer details? Customer ID, name, email ID, contact number, address, all these will come under customer details. Now, when you go for product details, product ID, product name, name of the product, description, manufacturing date, all this will come under product details. Okay. Delivery process, on which date we are going to deliver, whether it delivered to the right client or not, whether it is been, okay, so right time or not, everything will be mentioned in the delivery process itself. So now the next one is feedback process, whether getting the right information from the client or not. So once the delivered is right to the right client, we are getting the feedback process from the client itself. So these are all the things we need to prepare it separately for writing the test cases. Now, when you're preparing the test case, there is a format to be followed for writing the test cases. The first one is called UI test case. We call it as UI, user interface test. Once you prepare the UI test case, based on that, you are going to prepare your input domain test. Okay. UI test case. Input domain test case. So UI test cases, input domain test case. We are going to write your main functionalities test cases. Execution process. Effect reports. Effect submission. Okay. Effect submission. All these will come under test. All these will come. UI test case, input domain test case, main functionality we are going to write, and we are going to execute it. We are going to generate the defect report as well as defect submission. So this entire structure will come in the test case. So మీ సినారియో వచ్చిన తర్వాత సినారియో ప్రిపేర్ చేసిన తర్వాత మనం ఇది ప్రిపేర్ చేస్తాం. UI ప్రిపేర్ చేయటము, ఇన్పుట్ డొమైన్ ప్రిపేర్ చేస్తాము, ఫంక్షనాలిటీ రాస్తాము, ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ చేస్తాము, రిపోర్ట్ తయారు చేస్తాము, డిఫెక్ట్ సబ్మిషన్ చేస్తాము. దిస్ ఎంటైర్ స్ట్రక్చర్ ఇస్ రైటింగ్ ద టెస్ట్ కేస్. UI we called as user interface test case. We called as user input domain test case. So describing the structure of the functionality. Describing the structure of the functionality is called as user interface. We already studied in black box testing usability. What are the things comes under usability, madam? Anybody? What do you mean by usability? Pravalika Sahiti. What do you mean by usability? You already studied in black box system, right? Usability. Anybody? Describing the structure of the functionality is known as usability. Look and feel, easy to use, look and feel process. Font, color, alignment, whether the buttons are overlapping or not, button should not overlap. All these will come under user interface. We already studied. Here we call UI test cases. Describing the overall structure, the functionality is called as UI test case. You need to prepare first, you need to prepare your UI test case for login window. For every scenario, for example, you are going to work on login window. So you need to write your UI test cases, input domain test cases. You need to write the functionality, execution, defect report, submission. All these things will be prepared for every scenario. For every scenario, మనం ఇది prepare చేయాల్సింది. For every scenario, we need to write for login window key, same and prepare చేయాలి. Similarly, customer details, product details, payment details, next delivery process. For every scenario you need to prepare ilage prepare UI రాయాలి, input domain prepare చేయాలి, test case రాయాలి, defect report చేయాలి, defect submission చేయాలి, అన్నిటికీ ఇదే జరుగుతుంది. Okay, for all the procedure, for all the things you need to prepare all these things. This is the actual procedure how we are going to write your test cases. Okay, UI test case, input domain test case అంటాం. Now UI అంటే describing the structure. ఏమేమి ఎలిమెంట్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఆ ఎలిమెంట్స్ అనేది ఎనేబుల్డ్ ఉన్నాయి, డిసేబుల్డ్ ఉన్నాయి, కలర్ ఏంటి, ఫాంట్ ఏంటి, ఆల్ దిస్ విల్ కమ్స్ అండర్ that prepare అవ్వండి మేడం. Tomorrow I'll show you how to write the test case in Excel sheet. Same timing 4 o'clock madam, 4 to 5 tomorrow onwards.
Okay,
Okay? Daily 4 o'clock.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you madam.
సరే ఇది పంపించండి.
నేను ఇప్పుడే పంపిస్తాను మేడం, డాక్యుమెంట్ పంపిస్తాను, రికార్డెడ్ సెషన్ కూడా పంపిస్తాను.